Welcome back to another hand mixer. This is another Sunbeam Mixmaster Junior. This is the yellow model. Let you guys get a good look at this because this one is in like excellent shape. It looks like it was just taken out of the box. So we're going to have to be really careful with this one. This one we were also told, to leave the original cord on here. So that's what we're going to do. Got to make sure that it's safe to plug it in here though. I mean, the cord looks like it's definitely seen better days. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to bend this too much. I'm sure it's pretty brittle inside too, so we're going to go ahead and plug it in and turn this on. I was told this one runs slow as well. And it does seem to run a little slow, but it sounds good though. The motor actually sounds good on it. So we'll go through and we'll get everything cleaned out in here, and just check everything over, make sure everything is good to go in here, get new oil and grease in it, get the shafts cleaned off and armature and all that. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and carefully pull this one apart. We want to be very careful with the finish on this one. It's in such good shape. I mean, there's only, looks like one tiny little chip right here, and that looks to be, other than like right here on the tips of these, which are always the first thing to go, that looks to be about the only real flaws on this finish. Other than that, this thing looks immaculate. So we want to return it looking just as good as it came in and running better. So let's pop our gearbox off here. We want to be very careful because we don't want to break anything. Okay, the grease is definitely old in there. This one here does have a considerable amount of drag on the shaft here. This one isn't so bad though. That one turns pretty good. This one's got some drag. So we will definitely get those cleaned up. Once they're cleaned and polished up, they'll actually turn like really free. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out right now. This one should be ready to slide right out, but it's kind of hanging up here, so I have to put a little oomph on it. There we go. Shaft's out, and the washer came out with it. Put the gear out. Let's go to our next one here. This shaft slid out considerably easier, but that one was more freewheeling in here than the other one, so it probably didn't have any stickiness on it. Alright, I'll go ahead and scrape some of this nasty grease out of here. Grease itself doesn't seem to be too terrible. I mean, it's definitely, breaking down, and some of it did get down into the shafts there, and like I said, and start gumming them up. So this all has to go. We gotta get all this old grease out of here, clean this out really good, and we'll pack it with some fresh synthetic grease. this problem again. Alright, we'll clean that out a little bit better with some paper towels and some Q-tips. Alright, let's see if we can see the date on this one here. This one doesn't look like it. It looks like it says, the way it's stamped on here, you can't really read the date on there. See if we can get it focused in here as well. I'm not so sure it wants to focus on there. But you see, most of it's cut off, so you can't really make out the date on there. Which is a shame. I mean, it's nice when you can read the date on there and know when these things were manufactured, but that's not always the case. I mean, when they print them on there, they print them over the holes that are in there. This one has to be right by screws. Screws covering up part of it. But I'm sure it says probably 1955 or 56. It seems to be what most of them are stamped sometime during 55 and 56. I mean, it could even be 57, but it's definitely mid-50s. Alright, now I'm going to take these nuts off, holding this bushing plate on. Now, the last one we did, we had a heck of a time trying to find out what was wrong with it. It turned out that this plate here for this bushing wasn't machined quite right when it was made, and it sat in there cockeyed and just caused major issues. It ran great, even when you put the gearbox on, it would run great until you tighten down the screws. And as soon as you got those screws where they were just about to be tight, it would bind right up and slow way down. As soon as we replaced that bushing plate on there, it was fine after that. I mean, it ran perfect. And you can see that in the other video, the one that was posted right before this one. That was a nice chrome model there. I love the old chrome ones. I mean, this one's nice too, but there's just something about old chrome that I really like. Alright, so let's pop this off and hope it comes right off for us. And it seems to be. So I'm going to hold our armature in place so we don't pop it through our brushes. Alright, so this is going to get taken apart, degreased and cleaned up. We get all that old grease off of there. That'll come out, with get the bushing out, clean it up, oil up the wick. Alright, now without getting greasy fingerprints on this, I'm going to pop out this fan right here. And this is pressure fit on there, and these little teeth bite in. So basically you just go around, you just work them up, and every time you take the pressure off, it'll pop up a little bit. And you go around it a couple times, and eventually these teeth will clear. And you can slide the whole thing off. But we have to get underneath it here. There we go. I think it pops right off. You can see there's some carbon on there. So this one has been run. I would say not a lot, but it's definitely been run. Alright, I'm going to take off our screws that hold our wire connections here to these brush holders. Okay, get those out of the way and get our wires pulled up. And I see the other one had nuts on there, and the washers that were on it looked like the ears that you cut off of like an outlet when you put it in the wall. The ears that go on the drywall, you can snap those little ears off. That's what it looked like it used for washers. So I'm beginning to wonder if somebody had been into that one before for something. because I couldn't recall if I had seen that before or not with those washers. This one looks a little different. This one's got like the locking tabs. Instead of having nuts and washers on it, it's got these little tabs here that are, you know, actually a royal pain in the butt. To get off anyways, they're a pain. To put on, they're not bad because you just shove them down on there. But I did question those the washers and the nuts that were on that other one. And this pretty much just confirms that those weren't factory parts. I mean, they'll do the job, don't get me wrong. All you're basically doing is just holding this thing down. This card here that's got the brushes on it. But once these are loosened up, you know, you get the tension off, basically the teeth on here, then you can just unthread these straight off. You know, I could have even, I mean, I've got a couple of these in a box that are a part that I use for parts, which is a good thing because we needed some for that last one, but I could have easily just looked in there to see what had actually held these in place, and wouldn't have had to really question it as much. Alright, so I'm going to run these off. In fact, I'm probably going to pause this right now so I can run these off, since it's going to take a couple minutes to run them all the way up, and then I'll be back. Alright, we got the nuts off here, and now we got to try and pull this up and get it out of here without losing our brushes. The brushes are in these little brush holders here, and there's really no way to get them out until you get this thing up and out of the way. And see, this is 2 in a row now that wants to put up a fight coming out. Usually, there we go, it's not so bad. So usually you can get them to come out straight. They'll usually pop right out of here for you. I just want to try to hold these brushes in now while I pull this the rest of the way out. Of course, it's easier said than done, especially with fingers like mine. At this point, I'm just pushing it right back down into the hole. Alright, now I can work this off all the way. There's our brushes, you can tell the brushes look good on there. Gotta mind that my fingerprints on here. I will wipe it all off good when we're done, but the cleaner that we can keep it, the better off we'll be. Alright, so now we're going to go pull this armature out of here. You see, the armature doesn't look bad. I mean, it's nice and smooth here. That's just got to get polished up. You know, same for back here. You know, we'll use a Q-tip. We'll get down in and get as much oil out of that, out of the bushing down there as we can. It holds quite a bit of oil because, I mean, this is a, you know, that one back there especially is, it doesn't have an oil port to add oil to it. So you're basically, you know, it's got a bigger reservoir, I guess you would call it, you know, below that bushing, you know, that holds a lot more oil. This does have an oil port for the front one, it just doesn't for that back one back there. So we'll clean that out. We'll wipe out the inside of here best we can. We get everything polished up, degreased, get this gearbox cleaned up. And as soon as we get everything ready to put back together, I'll bring you guys back and we'll put it together and see how it runs. Alright, we're back. We've got everything all cleaned up and ready to go, and we're going to start putting this back together here. I'm going to start by getting some new oil down into this bushing here. Make sure there's enough in there, being that this doesn't have an oil port on it. And we go through and drop our armature right back in there as soon as I can find it. There we go. Okay, that turns nice and free, and we did get our armature. I pull this back out so you can see we did get our armature all polished up. Just some Scotch-Brite did the trick on that. It had, you know, no wear whatsoever on it. Alright, we need our little thing with the brushes. Here we go. This is our next piece. And this is probably the hardest part, the hardest piece on this whole thing to go out to take off and put back on. Because you got to make sure that your brushes are in the right orientation for starters, and then you got to get everything together on here while holding your brushes inside, you know, inside their holders there. It's just a tricky maneuver to pull off here when you've only got two hands. I mean, there's many times where, you know, doing this, I really thought it would have been nice to have had an extra hand or two, or at least some extra fingers or two. And I was just about to say, you got to kind of make sure that you get this thing down straight on these threaded rods here, or it'll get hung up. You got to kind of hold your brushes until you get down over to the commutative part of the armature, and then you can let them go and they'll ride right where they have to. Alright, so now we've got these little clip deals that go on here. And we do just run them right on down, and you just give them a push, and they'll lock right into place where they need to be. The teeth on there do a pretty good job gripping. And there's a name for these. For the life of me, I can't remember what they're called, so if anybody knows, you can go ahead and comment it. I just can't remember what they're called, but they do work. And I think these are exactly what was on these before. There was no washer and nut on them like that last one. I didn't think that was factory, but sometimes you just never know. Try to make sure everything is seated. And go ahead and just lock your clips on. Whew. Warm in here today. It's always warm back here. I've let no ventilation back here at all. And I used to have a fan back here, but I didn't bring it back because now I think the sound would just be, I'm using a cell phone as a camera. I mean, it takes excellent video, but the audio is a little screwy on there. Everything just sounds different, but it would just, I think, pick up the fan and drown out everything else. So I just deal with it. I mean, I don't really mind the heat too much. I mean, it can get kind of oppressive after a while when it's, you know, you have no air movement and the humidity's high, but I really, overall, I don't mind heat all that much. I'll take a hot, humid day though over a chilly day any day. I'm not a big fan of winter at all. Use the right screw dummy. I mean, I'd be happy with summer year round. You know, no matter how warm or humid it gets. I mean, I'm wearing a coat and got my ears covered and everything when it's, you know, starting to get below 50 degrees out, and if it's 50 and breezy, I get cold too. I'm a wuss when it comes to the cold, which go figure. You know, I've lived up north pretty much my whole life. Right now I'm living in northern Michigan, so it's cold, long cold winters up here. You'd think I'd get used to it being up here, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And a lot of people around here, they love it. They can't stand the summer, but man, they love it when it gets cold in the wintertime. It's like their comfort zone. Yeah, I know it's irrelevant, but while I'm putting this together, I mean, I can either talk or I can be silent, and I have a hard time being silent. It's just not in me to be silent for very long. Matter of fact, when you see the videos where, you know, I've taken out the audio and just speeded it up for reassemblies and you know, and put music for background, I'm probably talking, you know, through the whole thing the entire time. If I had left the audio track in there, you'd probably hear it, because like I said, I just talk to myself if I have nobody to talk to, and now I've got you guys to talk to, so chances are, you know, I'm not really gonna stop talking. Alright, I want to get this moved up really good. Even though this one does have a oil port for oiling, on reassembly though, I just want to make sure that it's full. Looking outside there, and it's not cloudy, but I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it's so hazy and humid out today that it does look almost cloudy. But if I look out, I can see every now and then I can see a puffy white cloud out there, so I know there's no clouds in the rest of the sky. It's just that humidity is just so thick, everything looks hazy. But, you know, it's, would you rather sweat or shiver? That's how I look at it. I'd rather sweat. Alright, so we got that back together. Make sure we got both of our washers on here. And if you're doing these, I just want to show you quick. There's two washers on the end of this armature. You got a wavy washer, and then you've got a flat washer. So if you're doing one of these and they come off, or you find two washers that you're not sure where they go, that is them right there. Alright, so we've got this all lubed up, ready to go back on. That just snaps into place. Let's grab our little nuts. Okay, I set myself up for some jokes there. Alright, just tighten these up. Nope, we won't. Because you always want to check and see if you forgot a part. And yep, I forgot a part. That's probably because I was talking. It's an important part too, so. But no biggie. I'll just slip it on right now. It's the fan. It's what helps keep this thing cool. I want to make sure that's seated all the way down there. Now we can put this on and get our nuts started. Oh, because I see when I pulled this off, our washer that I just told you about came off with it. There we go. Now we've got everything in here. I know for a fact we've got everything in here that's got to go in here now. I know it's getting about that that time where I usually have some coffee in the middle of the day as well. Going without coffee will certainly make me forget stuff. I mean, look at that. See, I just forgot what I was going to say there. But, you know, I know you guys ain't going to hold that against me. I'm sure most of you get the same way when you're ready for some coffee. Alright, let's snug these up. And these don't get cranked really tight, they just get snugged up. I mean, it's a pretty thin rod there. Alright, now what I want to do is plug this in and make sure that everything is going to work the way it's supposed to. Alright, so that sounds really good. The handle's stuck in its slot here. So now we'll get our gearbox together with our cleaned up shafts and gears. We got everything all degreased and cleaned up, ready to go. One of these is missing its washer. Here it is. Alright, let's get some oil on our shaft. Run that up in the hole. Let's set our gear right on top of that. I'm going to have to loosen up the set screw again. Yep. Oh, let's go in there. What the heck? Make sure you get your gear the right way too. Set screws should be up. I always want to put these in the other way, and I think that may be just out of habit. But on these, you want to make sure your set screw is up. If you try and put them in the other way, you won't even get your set screw run down, because it'll hit the shaft instead of going in the little divot that's in the shaft designed for it. Alright, so there's one. Let's get our second one in. Put our gear, set screw up. Definitely got to loosen up this set screw some. Scrubbing these off in a degreaser, I always run these set screws back in some, just to make sure they don't fall off. I don't want to be trying to dig around and all that stuff trying to find them. Okay. That's our hole. And for whatever reason, I didn't have that loose enough. Thought I had that plenty loose. Alright, let's get this set screw tightened down. If you wonder how I get these, you know, these set screws lined up so easily, I just make sure that the hole, when I push the shaft in, is pointing straight up, and then the set screw pointing straight up. And being that the hole is, you know, chamfered on the edge, I mean, if you're close, it'll usually self-center itself on there for you. Alright, so now it's time to get some grease in here. And hopefully when we put this cover on, everything will be nice and smooth, which I'm assuming that it will. This one didn't seem to have really any issues, you know, where the other one seemed to have, you know, a few separate issues. This one just seems to just run good, and it, you know, it ran good and everything turned good before we took it apart. So I don't see any reason why it's not going to when we put it back together. It was just a little slow, it just had some drag on it, but overall, you know, it turned, or it sounded smooth. It didn't sound rough, it didn't sound like anything was binding. We just want to make sure we get enough of this down in here. I mean, it's the teeth on the gear that get lubricated, and also where the gear meets the shaft bore there. There we go. So we got a decent amount on there. Clean off those or grease away. Alright, I'm going to throw our little beaters that we use for timing in place on here. And one of these is kind of really messed up, but it does the trick. Alright, let's get our gasket on. Remember, it only fits one direction. I gotta get this beater to stay in a little better than that. There we go. Now this is an old set of beaters, and this is the only thing I use them for. So, alright, we want to make sure our gasket stays put here, and we want to try to get our X and our plus as we slide this together. Of course, looking in there, make sure our gasket's still seated. That might be it. Right there, looks good. See, you have a plus and a X. Actually, this one does look like it's off a little bit there. Alright, let's try it one more time. Yeah, this is tough to do on these. There we go, but now we've got it. Come on, phone. There. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run these screws in here to hold this all together. And then I'm going to turn it on. I'll just tighten them down as I turn this on. That way we can hear if anything binds up, which I'm not suspecting it will. There we go. Once we get everything straight on. Okay, let me shut this off. I want to get these tools out of here, get it cleaned off, call back whoever it is that keeps calling me, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're all done with this pretty little yellow mixer here. Everything went together pretty nice on this one. There were really no issues in the assembly or anything. This one was just in really good shape to begin with. It just needed a cleaning. We'll go ahead and we'll run it through the gears here and let you hear it. And I left these beaters in here so that you can see the speed of the beaters rotating and all that. There's our low speed. There's medium. And there's high. So as you see, it runs good now. Everything's been lubricated and cleaned out. So This one should be good to go for quite a while now. I still, like I said, I pointed out the cord on here, but it's the original cord, like the other one marked Sunbeam, so we're going to leave that on there for the owner. But yeah, we'll get this one and the other one wrapped up and ready to get sent back to them. And if you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell so you can get notifications when we post another video. We got a few more coming up. We got a couple stand mixers, I believe an HP and a KitchenAid that are getting powder coated. That'll be the next projects that we do. If you like the video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up so we know that somebody actually likes the video. And as always, guys, appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.